This exact bike, has been with me on some of my most profound adventures of my life. Thousands of kilometers, long flat beaches, mountains and gravel roads, you name it. But right now, it's looking pretty rough. After just over 5,000 kilometers, the chain is completely stretched, the cassette worn out, the chainring destroyed, and to top it all off, my bottom bracket is really loose. It's frustrating because fixing all this is not just time consuming, but it's expensive. And this constant cycle of repairs makes me wonder if there's a better way. Could I break out of the endless loop of chains, grease and maintenance? Don't get me wrong, it's nice to work on bikes and keep them running smoothly. It's truly satisfying. But what if there was a way to ride without worrying about all of that? A solution that's cleaner, quieter, and almost pretty much maintenance-free. And that's when I started looking into belt drives. A belt drive replaces the traditional chain with a carbon-reinforced polyurethane belt. It's not a new idea. Belts have been used on motorcycles, cars, and industrial machines for decades. But on bicycles, it's only recently gained traction thanks to brands like Gates, who've refined the technology to work on bikes. The first thing that caught my attention was how clean it is. No grease, no oil, no mess. On my current bike, the chain picks up everything, dust, sand, mud, and turns it into this gritty paste that's a pain to clean. A belt, on the other hand, doesn't need any lubrication and doesn't attract grime. Cleaning it is as simple as wiping it down with a damp cloth. For someone who's spent hours scrubbing chains, this feels like a game changer. Chains last from around 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers if you're lucky, but a belt, you're looking at about 10,000 to 30,000 kilometers, some have claimed. Easily 3 to 6 times the lifespan of a chain. And because belts don't stretch, they don't wear out your cassette and chain rings nearly as quickly. It's just less maintenance. It's less money spent on replacement parts over time. It's an investment, if you will. But here's something I didn't expect. If you've ever ridden a bike with a dirty or dry chain, you know how noisy it can get. The clattering, the squeaking. With the belts, it's almost completely silent. The only sound you hear is the faint hum as it moves over the spokes. It's such a small detail, but it transforms the experience of riding. Weather resistance is another huge win. Chains are vulnerable to rust, especially if you're riding in the rain or storing your bike outside. Belts, they just don't rust. You're completely weatherproof and maintain their performance no matter the conditions. Rain, mud, snow, you name it. And for bikepackers and adventurers, that's a big deal. In perfect lab conditions, chains might be slightly more efficient, but in real-world conditions, belts outperform chains. A dirty chain can lose 5 to 10% of its efficiency, while a belt retains about 98%, regardless of the conditions. And then you have reliability, which is a huge thing for bikepacking. You need the bike to be reliable. And with my bike at the moment, without a chain and everything just feeling like it's moving in that bottom area of the bike, it's lost its reliability at the moment. And also, since changing the cassette to a smaller tooth and not quite getting the length of the chain correct, I've had the chain drop off my bike mid-ride more times than I can count. It is a little frustrating, especially when you're sending it down technical terrains. A belt by design can't drop off. It stays securely in place no matter what. But I get it. There's going to be some questions, and these are some that I've had myself. Like, can you use a belt on any bike? And unfortunately, you can't. You also need a way to adjust the belt's tension, usually with sliding dropout or an eccentric bottom bracket. If your frame isn't designed for a belt, converting it can be a challenge. And then you have gearing. Belts typically have tremendous gearing, and they're very relatable to mountain bike gearing and even better, especially for touring bikes. They're awesome. But sometimes when they're paired with an internal gear hub or even a single speed setup, hubs like the Roll-Off and Shimano Nexus are popular options. They are low maintenance and sealed from the elements, but they add weight and cost to the bike. And then also availability is a slight concern as well, especially with the current state of the bike industry at the moment. Even bikes themselves are hard to come by, especially if you want one in particular. And the same can be true for belts as well. because every bike shop stocks them. Belts and their compatible parts are a little harder to find. If you're touring in remote areas, you'll need to carry a spare belt just in case. Repairing a chain on the go is a little easier than it is a belt, but if you are prepared, you can still make it happen. Plus, there's a heap of bikes these days that are coming out stock with belt drivetrain setups, from gravel bikes to touring bikes to commuter bikes. It's becoming very popular, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the next few years with the next bikes that come out. But is a belt drivetrain better than a chain? And I think it depends on what kind of rider you are. If you're looking for a low maintenance, weatherproof reliability, and a cleaner, quieter ride, belts are an amazing option. They're perfect for commuters, adventurers, and anyone who's tired of dealing with greasy chains like myself. For racers or riders who need the lightest possible setup, chains might still be more of a sensible option. But for me, the more I learn about belts, the more I see their potentiality to change the way we ride and the way we explore. If you are looking for more insights on how to buy the best bikepacking bike for you, I'll have a link down below where you can check out the first few modules of my new course that I've released down below, and I hope it helps. But what do you think? Are belts the future of cycling, or are chains here to stay? Let me know in the comments, and also hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.